Callie Finn, my girl, thank you so much for joining me for the most exciting time of the college basketball season. We are in March Madness season, and it kicked off last night with the first four on the women's side. And listen, I'm going to start a little gender war here playfully, but I'm all about the women's tourney. I ain't trying to hear about the boys. It is all about the girlies for me. And so shout out to Iowa State, who won last night. Audie Crooks, of course, always. Audie doing her thing. But I really want to show some love to Southern U. And actually, I want to show a little love to the Ivies because Princeton gave Iowa State a challenge, but shout out to the HBCUs and shout out to Southern U. They won their game last night. They punched their ticket. I mean, they were already in the dance, right, technically. But like, look, they are one of four. They are the fourth HBCU to have a tournament win. And it's their first ever win. And they were so elated, Callie, and they were so excited. And I just think this is so huge for HBCUs. And they talked about it in their post game, like how important it is for them. So shout out to the SWAC. But like, you know, this is just a really exciting thing. I think, you know, the game was just played last night. So I want to show Southern U a little love.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's huge. You know, you mentioned it's their first NCAA tournament win, but also the first in the SWAC, the conference that we just shouted out. So like, that's big time. Like, I think, especially now, like, to see HBCUs on like the biggest platform in college basketball during a time when like maybe, you know, there's like a concerted effort not to acknowledge like diversity and all these different things, but like HBCUs have been so important to our culture, to the advancement of Black people in America. And so for there to be like an opportunity to watch Southern U shine, like, I mean, and they played really well. It was a 68-56 win over UC San Diego, which is, you know, not a bad team. So I think that I'm excited to see them in the next round. And they're not the only HBCU that we'll get to watch. We'll get to see Norfolk State as well. And I'm so excited to watch them. I have them upsetting in the first round of my bracket. And so, I mean, any opportunity to watch HBCUs shine in the NCAA tournament is a huge and exciting one.
Yeah, we'd love to see it, and hope there's more of this going forward as well. So, you know, Callie, we're going to be doing some predictions today, but before we get there fully, you know, I think one of the things that people always look forward to are Cinderella stories. And that's like a little harder, right, on the women's side because it's usually all chalk, right? Like there's not many upsets on the women's side, but I do think that there are some schools to look out for. I think we could be heading in the future for there to be some more upsets and maybe even some this year, you know, and I think there are definitely some players and schools to highlight. So I want to start first with like with Harmony Turner at Harvard. You know, Harmony has just been amazing all season long. And I mean, I think the Ivies just like have represented. It was a big deal. They got 3 bids. So even though Princeton got eliminated last night, like just shout out to the Ivies for representing. And so, I mean, look at this resume, you know, or just like highlights, you know, for Harmony Turner. She had a career high in points in the semis, you know. She's an incredible player. I love her energy and how she's always talking, you know, on Twitter, and I love her posts. And I do. I think they are gonna win their first round game, you know, and I think that, you know, if there's a star and a team that has the potential to maybe, if you will, early upset, even if it's not like a big difference, I would definitely be paying attention to Harvard and Harmony Turner and make sure your scouting is really good because the game plan against her needs to be top notch.
Yeah, I mean, she's been a scoring machine. And I think what you're talking about in the Ivy is like, this is like progress. I mean, even last season, the Ivy League was, you know, like on the up and up. We had like Abby Shue really shining out of Columbia. And then even like, you know, USC was bolstered by Mackenzie Forbes, who was a transfer from Harvard last season. And so it's like now we're seeing like more prominence out of the Ivy League, and Harmony Turner, it just feels like she's poised for like that breakout stardom. I think a lot of people maybe know her name already because of these high scoring games that she's had, but like this maybe is the chance for her to like to show her talents to a completely new audience. And I feel like that's like one of the most fun things about the tournament, you know, if you can introduce yourself to a new crowd. And I think like Harmony just feels poised to do that.
Yeah, and another player who is, you know, I mean, she's been making waves all season, right? She is a National Player of the Year candidate, and that's Tenaya Latson. And I just think, like, also, you know, I have, you know, them potentially upsetting LSU if they meet up. And I know we differ there, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but I just think she's so good. And she's a dynamic scorer. She's a 3-level scorer. I mean, she's so good. And so I say watch out for FSU, you know? And we've heard their name a lot this year, and that's largely due to Tenaya Latson. So I just think they're a team to watch out for, and they could push it. They could. I don't know if they will, but do not sleep on them by any measure as long as Tenaya Latson is at the helm.
100%.
Yeah. And so there's one other school that I'm expecting them to make a little noise, and that's Ole Miss, and, you know, led by Coach Yo. And, you know, I would really love that for them. You know, I have them I know they're a 5 seed, so that's not like that low. That obviously reflects, you know, how good of a season they've had. But many thought that they would actually be hosting, right? And they didn't get the host spot. A little controversy there with them, and Maryland actually getting to host, but whatever, it is what it is. And so that could be something that like goes against them because they're not hosting, but they're a very, very good team, and they are coached by a very, very good coach. And there were like some remarks made about her on a broadcast earlier in the season, which were not appreciated, about like, oh yeah, like that's a personality that you have to like, you know, I'm paraphrasing, but like you have to like an acquired taste or like something like that, which was so unnecessary on a broadcast. So like, you know, she tweeted about it, others talked about it. So I would love for her to make some noise and people see the brilliance of Coach Yo on display, Callie.
Yeah, I wasn't even aware of that, but that feels like something that happens a lot to women of color in coaching. And yes. I think we've seen that even with Dawn Staley. Mm-hmm. So I'm not surprised to hear that, but I wasn't even aware of that little tidbit, which is, it's a good, things like that make a difference. You'll see when we talk about my bracket, I went in some weird directions to get the inspiration for my picks, but stuff like that, like even like a slight, like that's an edge that she can use, you know, like she's got a little, maybe a chip on her shoulder, you know, and like stuff like that I think matters in a tournament.
Well, you brought up your bracket, so let's take a look at your bracket first, and let's see, you know, your picks, and then we'll look at mine and see how closely we're allowing, Callie.
Yeah, I mean,
walk us through your bracket, Callie.
Okay, absolutely. Maybe should I start small picture, then go out? So it's like every single time I talk, the bracket goes away. So that's okay. There, it's gone again. I don't know. I'm just gonna pull it up on my phone, and then we will talk about it that way. But as you can see, I mean, the big bottom line here is that I have South Carolina as my ultimate champion in a final against UConn, which I think is going to be super entertaining. Like, if we don't get this, I feel that we will have been robbed. My final 4 is South Carolina and Notre Dame, and then UCLA and UConn. I really think that this isn't, I know it's maybe like a unique choice. I think a lot of people probably have USC in their final 4. But
USC as in Southern California. That's the USC.
Sorry, Southern Cal.
Okay.
Southern Cal. I think a lot of people will probably have Southern Cal in their final 4, but I think that UCLA has a little bit of an edge there, and so does UConn. You know what I mean? Like, I think that those are 2 teams, Paige Beckers, Lauren Betts, like these are that's the matchup to me. And so that's what I've got in my final 4. I don't know how detailed do you want me to go in this, like, over, because I think we're going to compare, but
let me ask you a question. How difficult or easy was it for you to put together this bracket?
Oh, it was hard. It was hard because I think that it's like when you're picking upsets, like even some of the like I have I have Grand Canyon upsetting Baylor, which I know sounds crazy, but like if you watch Grand Canyon this season, it's hard to like count them out. You know what I mean? Like they're very well coached, and like that, not that Baylor is not, but I'm just saying like it's things like there's not and they're a 13 seed. So I think that like if you look through the bracket, women's college basketball, like the talent is at an all-time high right now. Like it's hard to like count teams out. Like also I have Vanderbilt going to the Elite Eight, which I know is probably a little bit unexpected, but I think like they have like the highest scoring duo in the country. Michaela Blake's a freshman with 23 points per game, and then Camille Pierce 20 points per game, and she's averaging like nearly 10 rebounds. Like they're a really, really good team. And so I think that things like that, it's like, I know maybe that seems outlandish, but as I'm going through making picks, I'm like, this doesn't seem that crazy. So that's like what makes, I think, filling out a women's March Madness bracket difficult. It's like if you are watching and like you've seen the talent, like it's hard to count anyone out.
For sure. And listen, it was very challenging for me to do this bracket, and I'm not that confident with some of my picks. And so, I had Vanderbilt going out a little earlier than you, so that was definitely a difference for us. And it was a point of consternation for me too, because of what you just said about their ability to score, right? Like they are so good. So I mean, we ended up in the same place for the Final Four and the champion, but that was like a point of contention for both of us there. So I had Vanderbilt getting beat a little bit earlier than you. And I think also another point of contention for you and I were LSU and FSU. And so I want to talk to you about this because I was not comfortable with making my pick there too. This is not a confident FSU pick. I'm a little uncomfortable, Callie. I saw players in walking boots, and so during the SEC tourney. And so I'm like, I don't know. Like, is Flau'jae really, like, I know she's going to play, but is she going to be impacted? Is Anissa Morrow going to be impacted? That's really what makes me hesitate from like, because I would have loved to see like LSU and like UCLA in the Elite Eight, but I couldn't do it. So I went with FSU beating LSU. But it was a very like back and forth pick for me. I had LSU, and then at the last minute I was persuaded and changed my mind.
I think that like I maybe went the opposite direction with the injuries, because I think that sometimes injuries, and this is gonna sound crazy, but again, this is what I'm talking about with my bracket. Like sometimes injuries can work in your favor, because I think that maybe like the other team, when trying to scout, like they're having the same questions that you're having. Is Anissa Morrow gonna be impacted? Is Flau'jae gonna be at 100%? If LSU comes out and those players, and I just like, that's my suspicion. Like I think that they're going to be fine. And I think that they're going to play. Because I think that if you look at Kim Mulkey, she is someone, she's airtight with injury details. Like she has an interesting relationship with the media and like sharing things about her team. But to me, that tells me like, I don't think I need to worry that much. Like even like seeing them in a walking beat, like that could be strategic. I cover UNLV women's college basketball. They have a player who's worn a walking boot every single day when she's not on the court since like February, and she's like the second most efficient player in the nation, only under like Paige Beckers. She's fine. I mean, she's not fine, but like she's good enough, and they have not released any injury details or anything like that. So I just kind of went like conspiracy level with my like injury predictions, and I feel like LSU's fine. Like I know that it's probably
no. It could have been some gamesmanship, and I mean, I considered that too. Like you just don't know.